What's up guys, JNO here, and first of all I'd just like to say,
is it too late now to say sorry? Missing more than just your body.
What's up guys, JNO here, and welcome to JNO United. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and remember, it's all about the game. So anyway, let's forget the intro, that was a bit strange, and let's focus on Game Week 25, which has just passed. I apologise of course for not getting Game Week 24 review and Game Week 25 preview up, but like I said, something came up. My daughter unfortunately dislocated a bone in her elbow, which meant we had to take her to hospital of course. It's nothing serious, everything's fine, they didn't even have to operate. The doctors, the nurses, they all knew what to do. Literally they just popped it back in, and as soon as it was popped back in, my daughter was fine and was beating me up about 5 minutes later with the arm, so it's all good. But it just meant that my recording session was interrupted and I wouldn't have any time to actually get the video up. So this is only the second time I've actually missed a game week, right, or a week where I should have put a video up. So I hope you guys understand, and I appreciate all the support that I got when I put up a quick little video explaining that I wouldn't get a video up. But anyway, let's have a look at my Game Week 25 score, which was 67 points, which gave me a 934,037th ranking for the game week, and overall I'm now ranked at 94,190th. So I'm still in the top 100k, but I'm just holding on. The star players for me were Firmino, Mesut Ozil, Riyad Mahrez, which I only brought in because I know for a fact that there's going to be a game week where Leicester are guaranteed not to have a blank game week. And for those of you that don't know, a blank game week is this. You can pause the screen if you need to read it. And also, in case you don't know, a double game week is this. Again, you can pause if you need to read it. And then we had Aguero and Kane. Kane didn't actually do that well, and I'd captained him instead of Aguero, which was disappointing. But of course, if I'd captained Mahrez or Firmino, I'd have had an even better score. The results that were the biggest results as far as Fantasy Premier League and the Premier League itself goes, Leicester City absolutely annihilated Man City. They went there, they put men behind the ball, and they countered quickly. They made the chances count, and Man City just did not have an answer for Leicester City's counter-attack. It's one thing to know what your opponents are going to do, but it's another thing stopping them. Aston Villa picking up a win was something I didn't see coming. Liverpool had the walkout at the 77th minute, which seemed to have cost them 3 points, as Sunderland came back in the last 13 minutes to get a 2-2 draw. There were a lot of goals in the Everton-Stoke game, but Stoke just didn't turn up. An annoying thing for Fantasy Premier League managers were a lot of those goals though didn't come from the players that many of you would have had in your teams. And everything else was pretty standard. I was disappointed by Southampton beating West Ham, but it is what it is. So if we have a look at the certified Super League, we can see that Rob H26 keeps his top spot. I managed to beat my opponent, Peter Check Your Team, held on to third place, but Benteke Fried Chicken got defeated by Chop Suey, which means, fortunately for me, I've broken away from Benteke Fried Chicken. Now it's all about catching Mank and Rob H26, and hopefully I could win my own Super League. The highest scorers of the game week were Rob H26 and Chop Suey though, so it looks like it might be difficult to catch Rob H26. What is disappointing is the two people above me have a lower overall score in Fantasy Premier League as a whole, so they've just had the right fixtures at the right time. And if we move on to the certified Premier League, we can see that Atletico Madrid, Callum Sims is still top. He's actually 20 points ahead now of Dream Killer, and the reason for that is William C had a really bad game week, 3 at the back, scoring 39 points. So Callum Sims has stretched that gap a bit. We can see that I'm in 14th. So again, I've moved up just slightly. I'm now aiming for the top 10. And if we look at the rest of the league as a whole, we can see that Bertzon and Morris is still up there at 6th. Mark Solonen has dropped down to 12th, and I'm now only 3 points behind him. I've now taken over Thomas Cameron, Czechoslovakia. I believe this is the first time I've been above him in a very long time. And Padful with Pad United got 81 points this game week, and now the rivalry could potentially be back on because he is only 6 points behind me. And if we have a look at 25th, we've got a new entry in the Certified Premier League. Dean Amney has joined. We've got a new entrant in the Certified Premier League with 1,369 points. So I've now got 2 people I've got to worry about beating in my league to make sure that I'm the top YouTuber in the Certified Premier League. If we have a look at Atletico Madrid's team, 62 points, which was 7 points above the average, we can see that his point scorers were Kevin Wimmer, who's probably a good choice now that Vertonghen is out, because Tottenham Hotspur's defence has been very good, and I don't think it's going to do worse because Vertonghen's gone. Vertonghen is a great player, don't get me wrong, but I think Kevin Wimmer could step in quite well next to Toby Alderweireld. That is still a decent defence. Hector Bellerin, of course you have him because Arsenal are always capable of keeping clean sheets, especially with Peter Cech in goal. Roberto Firmino was his vice-captain. I bet he wishes he captained him now. And he had Aguero and Lukaku, who finally broke his duck and managed to get a goal. Dream Killer managed to get 78 points. Peter Cech was in goal for him with a clean sheet, with Toby Alderweireld and Hector Bellerin getting him some points. He had Mahrez and Firmino as well as Mesut Ozil, and he has Andre Ayew, who, if he keeps his up front position, could score him a lot of points. He had Aguero and Kane up top. Unfortunately, Aguero didn't score as many as some people thought he would, and neither did Kane, but 78 points is still a great score in the game week. And then 3 at the back, William C, 39 points, which was significantly under the game week average, 16 points in fact. Eric Dyer and Sergio Aguero were the only people who scored points for him this game week. But he's got a good team there, it could maybe bring something back, but David Silva has been letting a lot of people down recently, and he is very unlucky that he had Jamie Vardy in his team, and Jamie Vardy didn't get on the end of anything. He had his chances, it just didn't work out for him. So I don't imagine William C is going to drop much, and we'll see him get a decent score next week. We can see that the top scorers in the top 50 were Little Babe FC with 83 points. Pad United, he got 81 points, a great game week score to bounce back from the previous game week. And Broncelona and Borussia Teeth also got great game week scores, as well as Mighty United. But the top game score of the week by 1 point over the others was United Chile FC by Jorge Contreras. I apologise if I said that wrong, I tried my best. I promise. He captained Mahrez, which was a great decision. But he also had a lot of other players who did really well. He had Peter Cech, Scott Dan, Toby Alderweireld, Mesut Ozil and Romelu Lukaku, which all ended up with a great game week score. Now on to the part where I try and give you some help and advice for your Fantasy Premier League campaign. But before I do that, I'd like to let you all know that I am now affiliated with Premier Punt, which you've seen on the channel before. And I'm going to start the JNO United Challenge, which is basically you pick a team for the game week that is coming up and you put £1 in, and if everyone puts £1 in, that is the prize pot. Now first place gets the biggest amount of that prize pot, with second, third and fourth also winning some money. Now of course you don't have to enter if you don't want to put any money on Fantasy Premier League, but I found it a great way to make some money and to have some fun. And of course you're picking for that game week only, so you can really focus on fixtures and pick the players that other people won't get to get that high game week score. Now it's only £1 to enter, and I have to enter to actually start the challenge, but I want to promise you all I've entered a really weak team, so one of you guys will always win the top prizes in my JNO United challenge. So there'll be a link in the description down below, and the password is certified. That's not with a capital C. Those of you who've been around for a while will know why the password is certified. And before I go, let's just quickly talk about the double game weeks and the blanks that could be coming up. Now the weeks we have to look forward to and plan for are game week 27 and game week 30. Now game week 27 is pretty simple. Basically you don't want to pick Liverpool, Everton, Man City or Newcastle players, because none of them will feature in game week 27. Game week 30 unfortunately is a lot more complicated. Now it all depends on what results happen in the FA Cup, who carries on going through and who doesn't. The more upsets by lower league teams, the more likely there are going to be less blanks in game week 30. The simplest thing to do right now is focus on the teams that we know will not blank in game week 30. Now the teams that won't blank are Leicester, Newcastle, Southampton and Stoke. Now the fact that Leicester aren't blanking means you should hopefully go into game week 30 with 3 Leicester players. If you have Mahrez, Vardy and another player maybe like Fuchs, you're guaranteed to get points, where other players who may not have prepared properly will actually forget that some teams aren't playing in game week 30 and won't be able to field a full 11. Depending on fixtures and form, Southampton and Stoke could have decent players you can pick up to make sure you get points while other people don't. What I would say to you guys is try to keep 2 transfers at all times for every game week possible, so you can quickly change when you need to without taking point hits for transferring players in and out. And just watch the FA Cup like a hawk and see who is going out, who is staying in, and then seeing who still has fixtures in game week 30. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, apologies for missing out last week, but it was a very small window to do between game week 24 and 25, and unfortunately I couldn't get time to do it. But we should have the review and preview this week as normal. Thank you all for your understanding again. It's you guys that have made my channel what it is so far. I've been J&O, you've been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.